Well, we have a different setup today. Have moved away from Florida, and we're in a new environment. And this one is quite a bit different, but much the same. Instead of having high humidity, we're very dry. You can see the elements here, quite sunny, hot, 110 degrees. And the water is well water, and it's a very alkaline lime. However, it's not as bad as the water, the municipal water was in Florida. I think the pH here is better. It's around 7.5, but we have a lot of calcium in the aquifer. I use a distiller in the house, and every time I use it to purify the water, there's about 5 to 10 grams of calcium per gallon. That comes out with the distiller, but we have it here, and yet it doesn't affect the pH as much as maybe calcium chloride or some of the other salts that are present in other alkaline water settings. This is a nicer setup for me. It really came out good. I bought some legs and decided to do it this way because it doesn't bear a lot of weight. Not as much as needed to, as you might expect with all this setup. I mean, it's distributed pretty evenly if you have it on planks of 2x4 and some nice little metal legs here. So that worked out great. I think I'll use that more often. I've got a really nice stone here. It's similar to the permatil that we used in Georgia. This is almost identical, but the larger ones are great. It's an expanded shale, baked shale. They use it in roofing. It's porous and lightweight, fairly lightweight, but real good for bacteria colonization and water drainage, as well as some water retention. Oh, messed up some little seedlings I got started there. Sorry guys. Get back in there. Get back in there. So the plan here is, I've got these plants I brought with me. They were lemongrass that were I just started them in the water system. They did great. I had some others that were in there that had formed some really solid roots. Now this will take just a minute. I can just about the 4 or 5 days I've been in here, we've already thrown some roots down. The seedlings that I've started, the plants that are going to be best out here are those that deer don't necessarily like. There's a lot of deer roaming around. This is basil, jalapenos, and tomatoes. Something I eat a lot of. This little setup will hold a lot. Can't find organic jalapenos just about anywhere around here. I mean, even the health foods grocery stores don't carry them. You can get them at the farmer's market, but there's not a lot of farmer's markets that have hot peppers. So this is a setup. It's got a little 100-gallon tank. It's got these metal racks in here. This one, they happen to be around the place when I put it together, so I'm using that to hold the tank. And I use this because first day I had the tank out in the garden area down there on the hill. A squirrel got caught in there and couldn't get out. So I've added this so animals can get out. Birds can actually get right down to the water's edge. Although they probably feel more comfortable here. And otherwise, yeah, so I plan to, use this setup to explain a little bit more in some follow-up videos about the fertilizer production. This is a system that, you know, anybody can put together, and it's such a wonderful arrangement. It's very low maintenance, and when you're using organic liquid fertilizers, it takes no effort. You can do a lot better than raising fish and trying to balance out the fish feed and that sort of thing. And honestly, I do it and make the fertilizer with just a few buckets. I've got a bucket down here that's leaching a blend of organic biomasses, alfalfa predominantly, with some other things that are higher in nitrogen and have added minerals, some with some sugars. Then I've got this little setup where I pour the leachate off from the bucket. It's got a lot of solids in it, so I catch it in this leafy mix, and then I've got a drain where liquid just drains down into. You can see it got holes in there. That filters out all the solids. Then I can take that liquid, that leachate, and pour it either directly into my tank. I got to be careful if I'm raising fish in there, because that carbon will cause the bacteria to eat up all the oxygen. And then the other thing I could do is set up a little, this is a mess, is set up a filtration system with my vortex that I do. I got that here. This one's not really set up for it, but basically, you know, spilling water from a leachate bucket, which would be something that's starting to capture the leachate, run it through this filtration media, and then that'll microbially break down the carbon, in which case lower carbon, same nutrients then can be added to this tank, and you'll get less carbon in the system, which is good if you're raising, like I said, if you're raising fish, but also if you don't want too many solid organics in the bed building up biofilm. So I can explain a little bit more about that, but basically it's pretty straightforward. You don't require a lot of measuring. Once you know your EC with your origin water, you know, this is about a 0.8 EC and a pH of about 7.4, 7.5. Works good. You get more acidity in the beds if you're looking for a lower pH. That happens in the beds around the roots as they're, you know, as microbes are in there decomposing carbon and making those nutrients available to the plant roots in the inorganic form. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and look forward to sharing more as we progress.